They feel as though your silence has trapped them in an endless loop of unanswered questions and untold truths. Every quiet moment between you feels heavier than the loudest argument they've ever had. They wonder if your silence is a way of protecting your heart or a sign that you've stopped caring about theirs. They're beginning to realize that the absence of your words hurts more than anything you could have said. Your silence leaves them in the dark, forcing them to stumble through their own fears and insecurities. They feel like they're standing at a crossroads, waiting for a sign from you that may never come. The weight of your silence is pulling them deeper into a sea of regret and longing. They're wishing they could rewind time to the moment before your words disappeared. Every day without a word from you feels like another chapter closing in a book they weren't ready to end. Your silence feels like a locked door, and they're left holding the key but afraid to use it. They're aching for the sound of your laughter, the warmth of your voice, the connection they once felt. Your quietness is reshaping their world, forcing them to confront feelings they've tried to bury. They're questioning whether your silence is a temporary storm or a permanent goodbye. Each moment of your absence is filled with their unanswered prayers for reconciliation. They're starting to understand that your silence might be the loudest truth you've ever spoken. They're afraid that your silence means they've lost a part of themselves they'll never get back. Your silence has become the mirror reflecting their deepest fears and insecurities. They're stuck in the limbo of wondering if your silence is born of pain, indifference, or something they'll never understand. Your absence is louder than your presence ever was, and it's carving a permanent place in their thoughts. They feel as if your silence is a puzzle, and they're missing too many pieces to ever complete it. Your quietness has left them searching for meaning in a space where none exists. They're beginning to realize that sometimes silence is the most honest answer of all. Your silence feels like an unfinished story, one they're desperate to rewrite, but powerless to change. They can't help but wonder if your silence is your way of letting them go without breaking their heart directly. Every moment without your voice feels like a void that nothing else can fill. Your absence forces them to confront the possibility that they're the only ones holding on. They're haunted by the idea that your silence means you've already moved on while they're still waiting for you. Your silence feels like a wall, one they're unsure whether to climb over or walk away from. They're hoping that your quietness is just a phase, not the end of everything you've shared. Your silence has left them stranded in a sea of doubt, uncertainty, and longing for clarity. They're imagining every possible scenario behind your silence, each more heartbreaking than the last. Your silence feels like a wound that time alone cannot heal. They're torn between giving you the space you need and the urge to break the silence with their words. Your absence has made them realize how deeply they depended on your presence. They're hoping that somewhere in your silence lies a path back to the connection you once shared. Every unanswered message feels like a reminder of how far apart you've drifted. Your silence is a weight they carry every day, heavier than any words could ever be. They're searching for closure in the silence you've left behind, but all they find are more questions. Your quietness feels like a void in their soul, a space only your words could fill. They're beginning to understand that your silence might be your way of speaking a truth they weren't ready to hear. Your absence has become the loudest presence in their life, echoing through their every thought. They're holding onto the hope that your silence is temporary, even as doubt whispers otherwise. Every day without your voice feels like another step further from the connection you once shared. Your silence feels like an invisible thread, pulling tighter with each passing moment. They're caught in a cycle of hope and despair, wondering if your silence is a door closed or just slightly ajar. Your quietness forces them to confront their own fears, insecurities, and feelings of unworthiness. They're longing for the days when your words felt like home, a comfort they can no longer find. Your silence is a storm they can't weather, a reminder of everything they've lost. They're trying to find peace in your absence, but every attempt feels hollow and incomplete. Your silence is the echo of an unfinished story, one they're not ready to let go of just yet. They notice your silence, each message as unsent and each word unspoken. It echoes louder in their heart than any confrontation ever could. They're replaying every memory, searching for clues in your silence, wondering if they were the reason your voice has faded away. Every missed call feels heavier, every unread message a reminder that your absence is louder than your presence ever was. They're hyper-aware of the void you've left. In the stillness, they can feel the weight of everything left unsaid. Silence can speak volumes, and in yours, they hear the echoes of loss, regret, and longing for what once was. They're overthinking every word they said and every action they took, trying to figure out what pushed you away into this silence. Your lack of communication isn't unnoticed. It's a storm of doubt and confusion in their mind. They sense the shift in your energy. Your quietness feels like an unspoken truth they're not ready to face. Silence often screams louder than words, and your silence is deafening to their soul. They're wondering if your silence is a punishment, a shield, or a quiet cry for them to bridge the distance. Every passing second without a message feels like an eternity filled with questions they can't answer. They're fighting the urge to reach out, but fear that your silence speaks a finality they can't bear to confront. In your absence, they're finding pieces of you in their thoughts, and it's driving them closer to clarity or chaos. They're overanalyzing the gap between you, interpreting your quietness as everything from indifference to heartbreak. Your silence feels like a mirror, forcing them to face their own fears and flaws. They wish they could read between the lines of your silence, but it's a language they don't understand. Each unanswered text feels like another brick in the wall you're building between you. Your silence makes them realize how much your words once filled the void in their life. They're holding on to the hope that your silence is temporary, even if their heart fears it's not. The distance you've created isn't just physical, it's an emotional chasm they don't know how to cross. Every time their phone buzzes, they hope it's you, only to feel the sting of disappointment when it's not. They've started to notice how empty their world feels without your words to color it. Your silence has forced them to hear their own thoughts, and it's louder than they expected. They're questioning if they did something wrong or if you're simply drifting away. They miss the comfort of knowing you were just a message away. Your silence is louder than the most heated argument they've ever had, and it's breaking their spirit. They're torn between wanting to give you space and desperately needing to hear from you. The distance between your last conversation and now feels like a lifetime to them. They're wondering if you've moved on or if you're waiting for them to make the first move. Your absence has made them realize the depth of their feelings for you, even if they can't admit it. They're haunted by the thought that your silence means you've found peace without them. Every day they don't hear from you feels like a reminder of how much they've lost. They're imagining every possible reason for your silence, each one cutting deeper than the last. Your silence feels like a goodbye they weren't prepared for. They're longing for the days when your conversations felt effortless and endless. They feel the weight of the unspoken words hanging between you. Your silence is a riddle they can't solve, and it's driving them mad. They're wondering if they should chase after you or let you go. Each day without hearing from you feels like they're losing a part of themselves. They miss the sound of your voice, the way your words could brighten their darkest days. Your silence has left a void in their life that no one else can fill. They're trying to convince themselves they don't care, but your silence proves otherwise. Your lack of communication is teaching them a painful lesson about what they took for granted. They're caught between respecting your silence and wanting to break it. They feel like they're shouting into a void, hoping you'll hear them, even if you're not responding. Your silence feels like a punishment for something they don't understand. They're holding onto memories of your words to fill the emptiness your silence has left behind. Your silence is forcing them to confront truths they've been avoiding. They miss the way you used to talk to them, the ease and the comfort that's now gone. They're beginning to understand that sometimes silence speaks louder than any words ever could. They're questioning if your silence is a test or a statement.